What is up? Episode 99 of Tree Talk Tuesday. I'm pretty amazed that we've made it this far. Let's see if something, other than something like completely catastrophic happening, I believe we will make it to 100. And I don't know how we managed to have three thumbs but only one person, but it's always odd here. That's just us. But I am going to do this live feed for an email that I got, and you may have seen by the thumbnail. It's going to focus on limb walking and the differences and like pointers between SRT and DRT when it comes to limb walking. So I am I'll start out just like I always do, read the analytics real quick, and then we'll just get right into it. I did one video last week. What's up, Jay? Um, it says Jay's here and ground. Oh, okay, we got 8 people here. What's up, guys? I did one video, 3 shorts, 2 lives. There was 9.9 thousand viewers, 19 new subs. Um, the using another video to learn a lesson. That video, Tree Climber's Mistake is equals learnable lesson. I may do a series like that because that did pretty good. So maybe I do some more of those. Um, maybe point to some other channels to kind of help give a handout, to a few people. And it also gives some content, so it's definitely not just like me just helping people. But 358 likes, 14 shares, 19 or 40 comments. If you shared anything, I appreciate it. It really helps. Fancy sweatshirt. Oh, thanks, man. Um, yeah, I still you gotta support. That's just the way this industry's too small. But yeah, I think I had a big week last week on this. So, or yeah, I made $19. That's up from the 12. But yeah, I also, okay, here come the comments. James, what's going on, buddy? Billy's here. Yeah, I apologize. I haven't been able to keep up with anybody's footage here lately. I've been trying to. I don't know, things are so tight this time of year, and you try to. I don't know. A good Christmas to me means I can give everybody what they want, and I don't want anything. That I just am able to give gifts and not get anything. Getting things makes me feel um, almost shameful. I know it's weird to say, but like I would rather get. Giving a gift makes me feel awesome, but like receiving a gift sometimes, like I almost feel like it almost feels like shame. Like I don't. I know it's weird to say. It's weird to for me to even say that because I know I shouldn't, but I have. That's just the way I am. It is the way I am. Jason, what's up, bud? Okay. So, please don't be offended, ground pounder. Oh, let's see this one. 100% Jay. That makes everything great. I have I have an amazing family. Like my dad, I lost my mom this year, so a few months back, so that's been kind of tough. And so my dad is like on his own now, so he's always there, and it's going to be a different Christmas, but I think it's going to be a good one. I hope everybody else is having a good one. So Yeah, okay, Wildwood Jake. I'm gonna do this video for Wildwood Jake. I don't know if he'll show up tonight. If he does, awesome. If not, maybe he'll be able to catch it afterwards. But Jake was talking to me about limb walking. And most climbers, you guys, if you've climbed, you can remember the tree that you were in where you were forced to take your gnarliest probably limb walk. It may take you a while to sit there and think of it, especially if you've done a lot of trees. But one will stick out to you. You'll remember one. Um, oh, what's up, Jake? Awesome, he's here. So the thumbnail for this video is a sycamore tree that I ended up doing, and it had a broken out top, and the limb walk that I had to take took me from the center of one yard to the center of a total different yard. And like I was 15 to 20 foot, I believe, above my tie in, and had to limb walk myself out and up this thing. So I can always remember mine. That's it. But I yeah, they are stupid heavy. I just did one the other day, and it'll be coming up very shortly. I had to take a pretty gnarly um, lead off that went all crazy, but and the awesome part's like I did it for somebody who watches the videos, so he knew that that I'm gonna not spike his tree and stuff like that. Things that usually if you're working out in the country and stuff, none of them guys. I don't know if anybody around me does anything without spikes. I don't think anybody does. Like I have yet to see a guy who does work without spikes. So other than myself. So that was kind of fun, but that's coming up too, so that should be pretty fun. I'm gonna drop the next two videos I think together for you guys. It should be about 30 minutes worth of footage, and it'll be in two videos. And then I'm gonna drop a couple more, and I'm kind of beef up the like output of videos in the next so because everybody should the holiday break that they'll have maybe have time to sit around and watch a little more footage. So be expecting that. Kind of stoked on that. I've got some stuff ready and other stuff I'm in the middle of working on, which is kind of the reason I'm a little short and a little late to this live feed. But yeah, sycamores are so gnarly. They are so gnarly. They can be so slick. They're one of my favorite trees to climb in, though. But they are very slick. So Jake wanted to know. I'm gonna kind of have to change the positioning here. Good? Yeah. See my fancy, yeah, it smells like that here is burning. Okay. I'm gonna hit my head on that when I leave. So, let's do this. This gear bag, check this out. I got this from my guy Greg Brown. He just sent it to me. He said he was using it, and I've had it for I feel like multiple years now. It's a Cantera, and it all my gear stuff goes in these side pockets, like all my beaners. That's spike ascender. We'll get this out and do like the zigzag on DRT, and we'll do it SRT. And that'll be kind of a good comparison as far as that goes. But not only does this thing have these pockets in here, and then when you open it up, it's got these little rings right here. So you can store all your beaners and keep stuff really contained and like clean. So you can clip all your beaners in there and they'll line down through. There's like 10 of them or more. And it's got little pockets and a divider. And then these little pockets here, pockets there, another hidden pocket there. Yeah, it's very nice. I really like it. So, keep the gree out too. Also, it's got the other side pouch full of gear and stuff too, other climbing devices and stuff. And then what I do, I have my bottle carrier. It's just like, I just put a clip on the end of a drawstring. Oh no. Are you guys there? I have this weird cleaner thing that comes up and it like freezes my phone. I am so sorry. So I use this little holder and it just holds a bottle. It's got a clip on it. Goes onto my saddle when I want something to drink. What's nice about this thing is it's got these straps that clip together here. And they just unbuckle, and I can take my Speedline straps always and I store them there, which is really nice. But they hold the bag together, so it's like actually can be used like a backpack, or you can carry it by these two handles. It's got this back pouch that I always keep my handsaw into, and it's got backpack straps in there. You can pull them out and like wear it like a backpack if you need to. But on top of that, it's got the center pouch here that always keep a bunch of ropes and stuff in. So there's a lot of rope in here for this little bitty pouch. Jeez, yeah, there's quite a few ropes in there. But yeah, I love this bag. It's so like bleached by the sun. It used to be like bright red. Now it's like starting to turn pink. But Greg's the man. He's my guy. Like, he's helped me so much. And I start to look at the stuff I have and the stuff that I like and stuff I use the most. And man, is Greg involved in that a lot. Like, I have to acknowledge that and give him a major shout out. The guy is so like, and he's very creative, but like he's not just creative, he's very handy and like mechanical and very smart guy. He's a craftsman. So if you ever get a chance to ever use a product that Greg's messed with or built or invented, or you'll understand what I'm saying. So Greg is definitely the bee's knees. So let's do, I don't know if this will for sure pass through my zigzags. So let's go with this. You ever store your ropes like this in a coil? You just like, I don't know how to explain it. It's the same way that you wrap an axe. If you ever want to know, I'll show you. But if you don't want to know, I'm not going to bother. But you get a bunch of rope into a little spot. Mostly I do my slings for my rigging rings a lot of times. It's nice to store those like that. Try to keep up with comments as much as I can, guys. All my ropes go in bags. Yeah, I don't have bags for everything. Like, I usually keep I have a big climbing box though that all my stuff goes into, and I just have the guys grab all my stuff out of the box always. So Um, let's set a tie-in point real quick. That up. Let's go first. Let's just go. Well, I always feel like when I do these demonstrations, I go with let me do something with this light. Is that gonna work? Let's see. Okay. So I feel like always when I do these demonstrations, I always do SRT first and then show DRT afterwards. So I'm gonna do it in reverse here. Here's how I usually have my zag wrench set up. This is a Greg Brown tether, which goes down. I connect it to the zigzag using a quickie link. So that gives me such a big spot to clip in when you guys see me use the over-the-shoulder lanyard tending. That's why I'm able to do that. It's got such a big clip-in spot. I guess you could technically clip in right there too or wherever, but here's the beaner that I like for this. It keeps it aligned. It doesn't ever kick around or go anywhere else. So it's really nice. You have to open the gate, then slide it up to get it to open. But it keeps it contained in there. So let's take the quickie link off real quick. You need a tree in there. Yeah, I have some things. We're gonna make some upgrades to the content here this next year, which doesn't, like, that sounds so far away. In the next month, I have some things planned. So let's see, step it up a little bit. Maybe it'll make some of this stuff easier because some of this is just chaos sometimes trying to keep content rolling. Okay, so quickie link. I guess you could hook that up technically. I don't like how that would align. We'll just use a regular beaner. So if you're gonna limb walk, you find yourself on kind of a gnarly limb walk. Jay, whoa, dude, thank you. Towards next, oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. That is awesome. You're something else. So I'm always needing topics for these live feeds. So if you guys get to where there's something that you would, just a topic that you maybe want to, there's no guarantee that I'm gonna know something that you don't, but maybe a topic you haven't heard me discuss, and maybe I can show you something that you don't already know, maybe give you a tip or something that'll help out. But I like that the live feeds have basically turned into that for the most part. But I do want to do some more of the interviews when I get a chance. I just, timing and everything hasn't been working out. But thank you, Jay. I really appreciate that, man. Let's see. Don't have a saddle on. So when you're DRT, SRT, it doesn't knock it off, Grump. God dang it. You guys. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Dang it. Don't make me get all shameful here. Like, come on. Thank you, though. Like, I'm very, very grateful. But You guys are something else. Limb walking, dang it, you threw me all off. Um, limb walking is the biggest thing I would say for limb walking is that you want to keep your weight up and yeah, Merry Christmas to you, ground pounder man. I uh, um you want to keep your weight into your saddle. That limb, even though it's horizontal, it's not. Even if it is actually it's totally flat, so you can walk on it. You can have a limb fail. One of my like the only video of mine that's actually like got tons of views. It's like over 1 million, getting close to two. It was a tree where I was out. I did a limb walk. I hooked up the rigging line, and on my way back in, I think I was maybe didn't tend my slack quick enough, and I put too much weight on the limb. It broke. I fell out. Um, my climb line caught me. I went back into where the stub was at, and luckily caught myself against the tree. But that piece went down and got very close to hitting the house. You guys, thanks, Jay. The reason you guys, god dang it. The reason that happened is because I didn't have my weight in my system. You need to make sure that you have an absolute great tie-in point. That should be your most important thing when you're going for you're going to start a climb. If you're going to do anything, go up there, and if you didn't go up already and set the tie-in point, if you set it from the ground, go up and make sure if you're going to be taking any gnarly limb walks, because if you're taking a gnarly limb walk, more than likely you're going to be at a heavy rope angle, and when you're doing a limb walk, your weight, everything should be in your saddle, into your system, not on that limb. When you start being dependent on the limb, you'll start to tip, you'll twist back and forth. It becomes incredibly hard to stay balanced when you're trying to depend on the upright balancing on the limb more than being in your system and in your climbing setup and bracing against the limb and using it as just a connection point to stay kind of rooted and stationary. So, John, what's up, man? These guys are nuts today. Um, we there's a few things you can do to help yourself on limb walks, but here is one major thing: is getting like setting into your system. If I'm walking a limb going towards you guys, or let's say going that way, I'm going to sit back into the system, and if I end up back walking out on it, almost with it over my shoulder, that's the better route. That's the safer route. I'm moving with my weight into my system, keeping constant tension on that and off of the limb, and you'll find like you'll get out so far sometimes and you'll loosen before you make a cut or do anything major. You may even want to, because you've relaxed into your system, repositioned, before you make a cut or do anything major, tend the slack up again, and you'll feel the limb come up sometimes. That's because all your weight wasn't in your system at that time. You were too dependent on that limb. I try to stay away from being dependent on the limb when I'm doing limb walks. And I feel like that's where it becomes easier, is if you're dependent on your climbing system and not so much the limb. You can get out there much quicker. Sometimes you could swing out and just like bear claw or bear crawl your way and use your hands even. Staying close to the limb, crouched, is going to be better too. Like sprawling yourself out onto the limb across it, it's going to be easier to stay balanced that way too, because it's more connection point and not such crazy angles from, like, if you think about it, you're standing straight up on the limb. You're just going to be hard to balance and stay balanced trying to move around and take a saw out and all that silly stuff. Now, if I'm on the side of the limb, one leg cocked out, lanyard around, and I'm like sideways, I can move and do everything I want as long as my weight is in my climbing system. Here's where the issue comes in. This is never going to feel as comfortable to me personally. There are guys that swear by DRT. This is never going to feel as comfortable on a limb walk as SRT. And the reason for that is because, and this may be a bad habit of mine, but I often become dependent on using this as another connection point to kind of balance my upper body. So what I mean by that is when you're making a cut on like something that you know is going to bounce up, I'm trying to think of an example to use, but like a limb that when you cut it, you know you're going to bounce up some. If you can get a hold of your rope and like you can take in, you see the slack kind of fall in there, you can take in the slack and keep it your hand there and kind of bounce, and it'll keep you from getting thrown all over the place. So a lot of times I will brace myself there if I'm having to do any major movements or any like major impacts going to happen. Also, on my way in for a limb walk, I will hold my rope and work my way in and work my way in. The problem with DRT is this is a moving system. The rope isn't stationary. So I can grab this end to try to get some slack, but what I can kind of do if I'm using DRT is know that this is where the slack's at and it's gonna be moving, but as long as I keep pulling on this and keep this tight, this end tight on my climbing system, it's gonna give me that bit of sturdiness and keep everything real taut. So a lot of times I'll be moving like almost both hands together if I'm going DRT on a bad limb walk, and I'm doing that same thing almost in reverse to go out. I'm like moving my hand up the thing and then moving it up and keeping another connection point here that gives me a bit of additional balance. Staying balanced and kind of centered and the more connection points just makes it easier. So DRT, for me to come in off of a limb walk, you guys see how much rope I've got to move. I've got to move all that rope to come back to this tying point. So that's where SRT becomes another advantage, in my opinion, because well, let's show something else first. Because you're only moving half this rope. So I only need half this rope to get this distance if I'm in SRT. Big advantage. Also, the rope is stationary. It's not moving. So when I have stationary rope, I always have that handle hold that I kind of want sometimes. So that may be just a personal thing that I do. So I'm not saying, like, I don't know if that's normal for other guys. I do the same thing, holding my line as an anchor point while limb walking. Being steady is 90% of limb walking. 100%. Stopping that initial shakiness. Okay. I've done this for like climbing and cutting with a chainsaw. I have over like 25 years. I've been doing this. I know I've been climbing for longer than that. I got to my legs. I was doing this. I was like shaking up in this sycamore the other day. I had already been out on this limb for so long and already got the scariest part done. Then I started to shake. And I think it's because I was like straight legged for so long. I legit had to stop tell myself, knock it off. Take some deep breaths, and my nerves were just racked at the time. So you kind of sometimes you just need to reset yourself, and it's a normal thing to get shaky. Um, and them points, I would say, stop, take a breather, reset, chill, and begin to move. Sometimes you just prepare, just start to work yourself out a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, and keep yourself connected at all times. Don't make some scary spot in it where you're like, I'm going to make it to that limb. I'm not going to worry about this. So I'm just going to take out a few foot here. I'm going to grab this limb and then I'm just going to step real quick to that one. No, no. Because then what happens if you didn't take out enough line? You get partway there and it stops you and you spin. There's a lot of silly things you could do that could goof you up. So I just don't recommend it. I would say the next best thing about this setup would be if I'm going to go out and do a gnarly limb walk, here's where you don't have to have your hand attached. You have another connection point there. You take this hand ascender, set it up on your, I believe it, yeah, it's the moving end. I do not use DRT much at all. Set it on the moving end. I like to actually, when I connect these, I connect these hand ascenders and I go through the top. That locks it in there. The rope can't come out. Then I like to carabiner out. You don't have to have a micro pulley. You could technically just go into this. But here is a major secret trick when it comes to limb walks. And this is it. You don't have to use a hand ascender. You could use a prusik and wrap a prusik right here and anchor it off and have a clip to it and do the same thing. What we're looking to do is create ourselves a 3-to-1 advantage right here. So I'm going to do it with a micro pulley. It's a black ISC. Put in. Okay. So now, you know what? Let's just set this up down at the base. Oh, it's a little easier to see. Set it up there. Okay. So with this setup, now I go out and I have this running my tail. Okay. Oh shit! It got all the way up to the tying point. So we can only go to there because of this tie-in that I have. Okay. So here's where this is like so nice to have. When I'm coming back in, all I have to do is pull this end, and it gives me all these connection points and tens everything, but it also adds friction so that it can't slack out. So you can almost like pull yourself all the way in with one hand very easily when you have the 3-to-1 setup out when you're climbing. You just pull, it takes in slack. This same setup, it just makes simply pulling yourself in a lot smoother and quicker. And it gives your hands that attachment point, and it's doing more than one thing. So now I have my connection point, this one. And what I would do is I would probably take a carabiner onto my saddle and I would clip it into one of my rings on the side so that I didn't have to handle this rope all the time. I would simply clip that end there and I would just keep climbing my system. And then when I needed to come back in, I have my rope there If I want to take it out, I can take it out, or I could just leave it in there, and I just start to tind up and tind up and tind up until I get to where I'm at. If I don't need it anymore, you can take this off, store it, whatever you need to do. But this little setup works really nice. It's very quick to set up, and the benefits that you can get from having this 3-to-1 is just incredibly nice. So same thing, just hand ascender. This time we just do a carabiner. Oh, hang on, I got that on my side. So you don't have to have a micro pulley. You're still going to get a mechanical advantage from this setup. So pull myself in. The thing about it is I can ease myself out much easier with this. It becomes much more dialed in where things could be jumpy. This is very, very slow and steady. It's almost like having a truck that's got low gears. It can pull much better and feel strong. That's what this kind of adds. These extra additions and these friction points make going out so much smoother, not jumpy at all. So this is a real nice thing to have and use. The 3-to-1 when you're doing rope walking. You can set it where you know you need to get back to and just pull yourself in. I wouldn't set this like probably up at the very top, but I would work down to where I need to get to my limb walk. Then I would set it up before I start my limb walk and know that now I can pull myself back to this point with a 3-to-1, which would be much easier. Okay, so where it gets different, you can use this technique that I'm going to show you, but a big thing on SRT or with limb walks, if you get way out on a gnarly limb walk and you're worried about maybe swinging or slamming back in, there's no reason not to throw a speed line strap around something real quick and clip on over on a different limb over here that you're climbed way out on. So now I've got my system here, and if I was to slip, I'm only going a couple inches as opposed to 20 foot. What the? No, John. Holy shit. What? Where was that? No way, dude. You guys. God dang. You guys are the best. You guys are crazy, man. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Legit. I promise I'll put it right back into the channel. Somebody was telling me I should maybe get a microphone. So I'm going to try to start like giving you guys better audio and all that stuff. I'm going to upgrade my phone. I may switch to doing my stuff on a laptop. Like I have a lot of things that I want to do. I'm working on maybe doing an intro for the videos, and I don't know. I have some plans, so these will help. So I thank you guys. You guys are amazing. John, you always are. Definitely don't need to give me anything, buddy. You being around sometimes and the positive vibes is just insane. They are so needed. A redirect, like I was saying, guys, is a major thing that you can do when you get out on a limb walk or anywhere far from your tie-in point that you're going to have to do something. Why not throw a strap around real quick and clip both of these off? I mean, there's other like redirects that you could do. I think you get out on a limb and you could double your rope around and clip it back together around a stem, kind of stuff. Like there's different ones like that. The quickest, easiest ones I've ever found. And probably one of the most used tools that I use when it comes to climbing would be speedline straps. I have a collection of these. They I don't do a lot of speedlining, but they are so useful for so many things. So I would say a recommended tool for anybody who has enough to do the essentials is you need some straps. You can get lesser priced ones from like hardware stores. I used to have these little. They said they were like mini toe straps, but they were very they were rated for a lot of weight. But they weren't endless loops like this. They were like solid almost here in the middle, and then they had like an end here and an end there, and they worked really good. They were just a little too long and a little. They were kind of stiff. So steel cutting, what's up, man? You're the best though, John. Thank you again. All right, so get some speedline straps. They're very useful. And so you guys get me all thrown off. I just forget what I'm doing. You guys, thank you. Like the Christmas spirit is definitely kicking in this one today, and I love it. But I mean, I just said like I'm not the guy that wants stuff, and I feel like I need to go on someone else's live feed and just start giving the money right back. Yeah, okay, Jake. I remember I'm supposed to talk about SRT to DRT with limb walking. Okay, we did probably the basics that I could say for DRT. So now we switch over to SRT. The way I switch over, showed you guys before. I used the wrench from Greg. He even etched my name in it. William, what's up, man? You too, Dang. Hey, thank you guys. Like, Dan, you're such a loyal regular too, man. I appreciate all you guys. You guys kind of give all this purpose, because without you, I definitely, if there was, just wasn't, like, some of my videos they don't get any views. Like, I have 9,200 subscribers, and when a video doesn't get 300 views, that's soul crushing. Like, because I put a lot of work into the videos, and it just is what it is. It's the oversaturation of entertainment that is on YouTube now, and I just have to be okay with that. But there's always the loyals here, and it's humbling, and it just makes it all worthwhile for sure. All right, so yeah, I do too. Ground pounder right outside. It's heated up and ready to go. I'm in it every night. I'm in my hot tub every single night. Well, not every single night. I would say at least 5 nights out of 7 every week. Even when it's cold like this, I just wear a sock cap so I don't get a cold because of my ears. So, here's how I set it up. Quickie link. These quickie links, when you're going through a zigzag, they kind of catch a little bit on the rubber gusset inside on the zigzag where the clip goes. You just kind of turn them, and it helps a little bit to keep it from like ripping or tearing or anything. So, SRT. Here's where the big advantage is, Jake. The fact that with this setup, I'm now moving half the rope. If at some point, if I was DRT and at some point I had crossed over a limb or two, DRT isn't going to move anymore. There would be so much friction on it after I went over a couple different limbs or forks. or against a couple unions that it wouldn't want to move anymore and would make limb walking almost impossible because you need action in your climbing system, and it needs to be not too quick, but not definitely not too slow, because then you're fighting it and you're losing your balance the whole time. So with SRT, it's a stationary rope. If I get out there and I've went through 50 crotches, my climbing system is still going to move as fast on this line as it would have at the very top before I ever went through a crotch. That's the best part and the benefit about SRT. Half the rope is being moved, and I can go against, and you like spread my weight out all throughout the tree. I could let's say with DRT, I tied in, I came down a little bit, I jumped through a union so that I could go down, and be a little further out on the limb, and then I did that again and was just against the DRT is barely going to move anymore. It's going to fight it. The friction is going to be so hard that I'm going to be battling, dropping my weight into the system to get it to move. And that's not what you want. You want comfort and very dialed in action on your climbing setup when you're making a limb walk, because if it's not, it's 10 times harder and it's just unnecessary. So SRT, I could went up, tied in, went over to the first crotch, went through it, went down, went through 20. Let's say I went through every crotch in that tree, every union in that tree. My climbing system's still moving the exact same as it was from the beginning, because the rope's stationary, the climbing system's moving. With DRT, the climbing system's moving and the rope's moving. So you have to remember that. This, I work my way out. That same little trick when it comes to, limb walking, your way back in with the hand ascender and the carabiner, that same trick is used here. You can do the same thing. So you just have to, that little trick, you can remember it, keep it in your toolbox, bring it out whenever you get a chance to use it, and see the benefit that you can get by having that extra friction and being able to kind of dial that in. I was actually looking for, there we go. Let's say instead of this, all you got is a pressing. Then you just hook your prusik up and do that same thing. If you want to use, if you want to use a micro pulley, cool, but you don't have to. All you need is a carabiner. So you got yourself hooked on there. Go up. Actually, I get closer to you. Let's see this. I'm going to clip yourself in. I would adjust that out to where I need it. And I would get out there. And then now I got an even more dialed in way of climbing the system. And I can ease myself out even more than I was. So, very nice. And then the benefit of when you're coming back in is even better. You have a connection point with your hand, and it's just easily pulling the system back through with mechanical advantage, which just makes that process easier. I mean, it's not something that's, it seems like it should be explained much further, but it's just the fact of the mechanical advantage that you get here, and the fact that you can tend this one hand and get the strength that you would probably get from two with this, where you would need to be like both hands. You can just easily, this same setup you could use to climb if you were needing to use this system you could climb a tree and rope walk up like this. And the way you would do that would be clip in, okay? And I would put like a foot loop. You need like some sort of a foot loop onto this. I could make a makeshift one real quick. And I would just clip that, and then maybe this. Would it get down to my foot? Yeah. And I'd get that kind of down to my foot and adjust it out to where it was the right length here. But then all I would do is move that up each time, this system here, and lift my leg, and then I would step into it and pull. Step and pull. Sit, stand, sit, stand. That sit stand method is very, 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 very easy on the body, and it's one that I will do a more in-depth on it, because I feel like people who maybe aren't spring chickens but still want to just recreationally climb, rope walking is very hard on the body. It's very strenuous. It can be easy, but until you get it dialed in, it's very strenuous on the body. Like it's hard. This method, the sit stand, is so simple and so easy on the body, and you can actually tend the rope with both hands and be able to like sit, stand, and you just put one leg in and you stand on that leg, lift it, stand, and the whole time you're moving a hand descender up, it's got a foot loop, stand, and then you lift, stand. Very simple, but you're getting a 3-to-1 advantage with it and other stuff. So, but that's what I got for limb walking. The important thing to remember is keep your weight in your climbing system. Don't take your weight out of your climbing system. Don't rely on that limb. I would be thinking of that limb as like a last resort of a spot to place my weight. I want my weight in my climbing system. I want to be set back into the system depending on the angle. If I'm tied in over here, I don't want to be sitting this way. I want to be turned, looking at it and setting into it. There's the easiest way. When you start getting sideways, you get kind of twisty. So I would say anytime you need stability and to get balanced, trying to stay almost frontal to your time point with all my weight placed into my saddle and into my system. And there's being in your system, and then there's relaxing and placing your weight into your system. I think some guys are afraid to do that a lot of times, and that's where limb walks are going to be very difficult, because you have to be incredibly dependent on the system and place the weight into it, and not be afraid to sit down into it and keep all your weight and like all your pressure down in that climbing system, not up and like on the limb. So I hope that helps. Squirrely John, what's up, man? I know John was here. John Bob, what's up? Merry Christmas, buddy. The weather's pretty good up where you're at, huh? Right on, John. Yeah, I think the weather's been pretty decent around here. I can't complain at all. It's been a little chilly. We had really sunny skies. The weather's been really good. I can't complain. It's been pretty nice. If I complain about it at all, that's kind of silly, because it's been way, way worse here recently, and it's just nice to have some decent weather and it not be just crap all the time. Sometimes I feel like Missouri gets in those funks and we just like stay in them. Wildwood Jake, what Jake say? Hang on, let me read a couple of these comments. Got a few more jobs lined up before the new year, so it should be a nice couple weeks. Sweet. That's awesome, man. Yeah, this is when things get really tough as far as work and it kind of dries up. So, and it's understandable. Everyone's having to kind of pull their money together for Christmas and stuff like that. So I understand it. Doesn't I mean, as a tree guy, you definitely have to try to plan for it ahead of time. So it's kind of a rough time. I have a small one. I'm fitting in Friday. Right on. This has been extremely helpful, Mike. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you and everyone. Sweet. Right on. Well, hey, it was all worth it then. That's all. Jake sent me an email. I like Jake's attitude. I like, he seems like he's a go getter who is always willing to take in and absorb a little bit of knowledge. You know, doesn't mean you don't know how to do that same thing or something similar. But I can say that usually if somebody calls me for something, I don't. There's never this like, could you? It's just always how. No matter how bad or gnarly or crazy, it's just like, so how would you do this one? Because people just know how I am. I love that problem solving part. So I've taken on some rough, nasty stuff before. And, you know, when you get some of that stuff done, you feel like you're walking on water, and you have this confidence about yourself that just probably oozes out of your pores. But you got to remember not to come off cocky and a jerk. Usually that's where I feel like guys get on the internet to do all that. Little snow and 30 degrees here. I gotta get building some saws. I'm 5 behind. Dang, dang, John Bob. 5 behind. Dude, I ran it. I seen a 261 just a little while ago. I went and bought my wife a ring. But I seen a 261, a used 261 for, it was like less than 300 bucks, I think. It looked like maybe the newer kind of 261. It wasn't the old, like, 261. It's maybe the MS. I don't know. Probably should have got it, but yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying, Ground Pounder. You can see the ones that want it, and the ones that waste people's time make it hard on those kind of guys. Nobody wants to help them because everyone else has aggravated and wasted people's time, and you start to think, well, none of the younger kids, care or give a damn, and it's just not the case. There are still some young men out there that are still young men. They're still men. They're few and far between, but they're still out there. Jobs is beating me up some. Dang. I tend to underbid the next jobs after I do big monster jobs. Yeah, I know. Trimming some big ash Friday down in the big city. Customers been treating them with good results. I would normally recommend someone trim on ash since they're most likely gonna shit the bed. Yeah, I know. It's even worse down here. Okay, sorry, let me see. That was John that left that comment. Um, yeah, John, it's rough down here. What they're doing down here is, okay, the way an ash tree dies off when they're attacked with the boar is all the foliage in the top goes completely dead, starts to almost like flake apart and crumble. But what'll happen is the tree has that its last ditch effort trying to save itself, and what happens is the tree has no coverage anymore. All the limbs are dead, so it can't cover its trunk up, and the trunk ends up being exposed to too much direct sunlight. So it'll purposely throw out a buttload of suckers in the on the trunk on the log. You'll see tons of these suckers, and that doesn't mean because you see green suckers that the tree's still got life and that it's alive and good. Um, what it's doing is the tree's just trying to cover itself up because it doesn't want to suffer sun scald, which will burn the bark clean off the tree and just kill the tree. So, like a human, you can just get sunburned so bad that you die. It's probably not too likely with humans, but that does happen a lot with trees, especially with some of the stupid topping that I see that gets done. People turn things into a complete, just couple forks, and that's it, bare. um, the customers just want it sometimes. I can get it if, like, it's just the tree just you has to fit in that spot and you just don't care and you know that it's going to kill it long term. But I know that's not why they're being trimmed. I think people think that that's what you're supposed to do. So where I'm at, the ash are dying off, completely dead. They throw a little green wad of suckers in the middle. So the guys are cutting the dead off and leaving that little green wad of suckers. And they get another year out of the tree where it looks okay, I guess. And then it'll die off. But I mean, it may get suckers for that next year, a couple. But that's what I'm seeing around here. So people are paying to have these things trimmed, and then they're gonna have to pay to have it taken down within a year or so. So does Greg Brown make a shorty tether? I don't know. I mean, I would imagine he probably does. Um, see, Greg's, it's came a ways. If you know these things, let's see if I can pull that back out. The length you want, because you need this length to keep. Oh, sorry, it's not even in the camera. You want this length here because if not, when you collapse the system with this, even you collapse the system down, you can get to where you're almost like starting to get close to touching. So you have to watch out for that. That's the reason most of these are so long. You don't want them touching together. The further up, I guess, the more friction it would probably create the gap between the two. But Greg seems to have it pretty dialed in with this length. The strength that you get from this, I like the arc to it. It's got a good hand feel because I find myself holding on to my rope wrench often, like by like a handle. So that part I like. He's came up with different. Like here's some of the older ones. I have a couple more. Look at this. Look at this guy sent me. I don't know. He's amazing. Missing Greg right now. We need Greg in here. But so he came up with this idea originally. That's actually a beautiful tether. It's not really ever been used much. And then he would put the rubber gasket there, which would work as a stopper for the wrench when it was connected. So then instead of using that and then having to be so precise there, you want with this clamp system where this thing tracks down and opens up and makes this whole, well no it doesn't, okay, it doesn't actually open up, it just sizes itself up and down this so you can put different length rubber gaskets I guess and get it dialed in to the action that you want. So I mean, I'd imagine Greg could probably make a short tether. I don't know why he wouldn't be able to. It just gotta figure out. I don't know. I don't know if Greg. See, I'm always like tooting Greg's horn and talking about all of his stuff, but I don't know if Greg actually wants to sell anything or make anything. So I hate when I do this because I don't want to make him mad and be like, dude, what are you doing? I don't want to make a bunch of stuff. It should be 223. LOL. I won't be able to skydive. 155, 160 tops. Not happening. I underbid big jobs every time. Yeah, it's rough. The problem is the price range. You need to look at your job more of a 1 day job because that's what you're used to doing, and this will help with bidding the bigger ones. You have a 1 day job. If you were going to do a 1 day job and and get it done, you have a certain amount of money. Let's just say $200 is what you want for your whole day. Don't start commenting and telling me I'm crazy, but just use an example. You $200 you need, and you work your 8 hours that day. So now you have a job that you're looking at. It could take you 3 days, 4 days. You still need to do it in that 1 day job thing. You can't go like um so 4 days. You need to make 800 for sure, but you're like that sounds like so much compared to what I normally say, and I don't want to shock someone. So here, and you come in with like six, and you just find yourself doing a full free day of work for nothing. So when you find yourself getting into those times, into those bigger jobs, the easiest way I would say to help out would be to, and I'm guilty, we're all guilty of this, is just break it down into single days, and a good day would make a certain amount of money. And if it's going to take you 3 to 4 days to do that job, you should be able to get your good money on every one of those 3 days, and then maybe not the best on if it takes you the fourth. But if you can do it in the three, you should be able to make your good money that you would make on a full day, a full job, and maybe that'll help. I typically skip lunch, like to stay hungry for dinner, and makes me work faster. Yeah, I don't even know what lunch is, man. Like when I get to working, I can't stop, and I got to remember, like most people aren't like that, and sometimes I feel bad because Jake's such a good worker and a good guy that like he just does his thing and he won't say nothing. So like I need to remember like, hey, he may need to get something to eat and something to drink, but usually he's always just like me. He's like, nope, I'm good. Like, all right, man, you sure? Yep. Like, awesome. I'm gonna sit here and finish this live feed with you guys, and got my brother his present today. Got my dad his, my father-in-law his. Look, my father-in-law's awesome. He's an eye doctor, and he came out the other day, and he's like, Mike, come here, let me show you something. And I knew he had something like Saul related because he was like, he's not normally like that. Like if he gets a new motor, he collects motorcycles and stuff. Like he wouldn't come and be like, come look at this. You got to see what I new stuff. Because he doesn't. He's not that type of guy. He's glad to show you, but he doesn't want to come off like bragging. And I respect the hell out of that. So he's like, I gotta show you this. You gotta see this. And I'm like, it's gotta be Saul related because he knows me. And he, like, you could tell he knew that I would think whatever he had was cool. He's like, you ever seen one of these? And he pulled out the pistol, Saul, the GTA 26 from Stihl. And He's like, you ever use one? I was like, yeah, I got one. And he's like, oh, but he's like, these are awesome. I was like, yeah, you got to get the holster. And he's like, he likes handguns and stuff like that. So he found out there was a holster to it. And I'm like, no, 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 you can't buy it for yourself. Like, I got you. So that's what I went out today and found that for him for Christmas. So there's the holster for those of you who didn't know that they make a holster for the GT A26. They do, and there it is. It's really nice. It's got a thing where you can put it through your belt loop. I usually just take mine right here on this little thing here and put a little carabiner there and just clip it to like where my handsaw goes. But it's got another strap that goes around your leg and keeps it compressed to your leg. It's really, really nice to use. Got my dad some bike or his motorcycle boots. Oh yeah, I'm stoked to have some of it done. Take it, I got so far behind on comments. What's up, Peter? Yeah, you guys see if you check Peter's channel out, he's just looks like he's about to pull up a boat out of this canal. That kind of stuff is fun. I did that same thing at my father-in-law's after we had the storms that came through. He always had these big stumps and stuff in his yard that were blowovers, and I'd cleaned them up, but I'd left the stumps. But I was always curious. I was like, what can I do with a maze dam? And I just wanted to show the power of a maze dam. So with a maze dam, and I think I may have used a 5-to-1. I think so. A maze dam and a 5-to-1. I uprooted the stump, roots and all, pulled it out of the ground. It was pretty sweet. Looks like dudes you worked with. Oh damn. 6-inch battery chainsaw. Huh. Saker. 6-inch battery chainsaw. That's cool. I just seen one today. Which one? What was that? I think it was a skill saw version of it, which was pretty cool. I need to get. Well, I have enough tools. I don't need any more tools. I need to stop. I just buy stuff sometimes to buy stuff. Burger King here. Nobody has sent me chainsaws, but I got some super clean cleaners off the YouTube. Some super clean cleaners. Sweet. I need a 5-to-1. Peter, I use a very cheap one. I actually, dude, I have one of these old things too, and I used this not too long ago, and it worked really good. And I really thought, man, I got lucky when I used it. But you can go buy these. They make there's a big green version too. I think it may be. Damn, where is it? I don't think I have it in here, but it's got like a flip open arm right here. It's like a green setup, painted green. You get them at like Tractor Supply or whatever. It flips open right here, and it's got the same clip ins. But I have two of those, and that's like a mega 5-to-1, and they weren't very expensive. I mean, if you have like a Harbor Freight or something, they have some double sheath pulleys and then you have enough climbing gear, you can make the rest of the setup and make it so it's like a capturing setup, so it captures all your progress. I like to usually like run the Prusik or like my gree at the end of the system to keep all my progress, so you can't lose it. Look, hang on, what am I seeing here? Nobody's okay. Let's see. Yes, really pure. Look just like not your writers. Okay, true story. They were like, hey, write out and put a video up and keep it. Oh, well. Well, I'm sure you've been a good boy this year, Peter, and Santa will put all that stuff underneath your tree. And if not, he just wants you to wake up next week and work a little harder to get it. If your Santa's anything like mine, he just gives you the, hey, dummy, you're lucky to be alive again and doing this for another day. Enjoy it. It should be enough. And with what I've put myself through, I just gotta be happy to get up, have what I got, family, the things I have, and just cruise through life. Try not to put too much focus on all the chaos going on around me in the world because it's very depressing. So yeah, just it is what it is. Holy cow, I just looked up there and the donation thing for this is crazy. You guys are so wild. Oh man. I feel like I've hey, if somebody donated something and I didn't say thank you, I'm so sorry because I'm doing the math in my head and it seems like a couple more bucks than what I thought. Like 665. I don't know. Maybe I just can't add. No, I think I just can't add very good. If you did donate, thank you. If you stopped in and just watched the stuff, thank you. You guys are amazing for the, Greg or Ground Pounder, thank you. Jay, thank you. John, you guys, thank you. I really appreciate all that. I promise you I will put that right back into the channel. I seen Noker and I just stopped. I couldn't even read no more. I'm just glad that we can still do these live feeds because if you guys seen what my phone actually looks like, you wouldn't even know how this comes. My screen is destroyed. It is so shattered and spidered, and somehow the cracks go around where the camera's at. I think. Because like when I move my hand up the screen, my finger, like little flicks of glass come out sometimes. I should probably get a new phone. I want a Noker too. I feel like one of us has to buy them, so then you can start making videos on them, and he can't cry because like I feel like in his mind, if you don't have one of his chainsaws, you don't know how great they are. When in actuality, I can see that they're not that great from the videos. They're very underpowered and with little torque to them. They just seem very, very underwhelming. And Jason, thank you for hanging out. I haven't caught Jason too much in our, in our live feeds before, so thank you for hanging in here with us on this one, bud. I really appreciate it. The rest of you guys, Peter, Ground Pounder, Billy, John, Dan, you guys are awesome. I want to thank you. My 200 T ribs. What do I do? Unstable Steve here. Are you ready for the best chainsaw ever? Yes. I can't. I was really having fun making those parody videos about him, but then one day I felt so much guilt because I'm like, I felt like I was having fun, and with any other man, I feel like that would be just banter back and forth. But I feel like with him, he wasn't going to take it as banter. He was going to take it as mocking and like trying to belittle. So I privated all those videos, which I thought they were funny, but and they were actually doing pretty good on views. But what do you do? Thank you, Ground Pounder. I appreciate you guys. Hey guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna Kevin, Merry Christmas, brother. Thank you guys all. I appreciate you guys. Dan K, have a good holiday, brother. Peter, all you guys. You guys, I hope this Christmas is everything you want. Stay safe. I'll catch you on the next one.